The whisper from the void, the ice-covered surface of Europa, stretched endlessly beyond the reinforced windows of Research Station Alpha 7. Dr. Maya Chun rubbed her tired eyes and returned her attention to the quantum communication array. 3 months she had been monitoring deep space frequencies, searching for patterns in the cosmic background radiation. What she found instead would change humanity forever. At 3:47 station time, the impossible happened. A signal burst through the quantum static, clear and unmistakably artificial. Maya's heart raced as she isolated the transmission. The pattern was unlike anything in human databases, complex, layered, and definitely not natural. She ran the signal through every decryption protocol available, but the alien mathematics remained stubbornly locked. "Computer, begin Emergency Protocol 7, Maya commanded, her voice steady despite her racing pulse. The AI responded immediately, copying the signal to secure servers across the solar system. Whatever this was, it would not be lost. Hours passed as Maya worked feverishly to decode the message. The breakthrough came when she realized the signal used prime number sequences as a foundation. Slowly, painfully, fragments of meaning emerged from the alien language. What she discovered made her blood run cold. The message was a warning. The senders called themselves the Zelani, and they spoke of something called the Devourers, a force that consumed entire civilizations, leaving nothing but empty space in their wake. The Zelani homeworld was dying, their people scattered, and they were sending this desperate plea to anyone who might listen. Maya transmitted her findings to Earth immediately. The response was swift and dismissive. Government officials called it an elaborate hoax. Military leaders suggested it might be enemy propaganda. Scientists demanded more proof. No one wanted to believe that humanity had just received its first message from the stars, and that message was a cry for help. Only one person took Maya seriously. Captain Rex Morrison had spent 15 years exploring the outer reaches of the solar system. He had seen wonders and dangers that most humans could barely imagine. When Maya's report reached his desk at the Deep Space Exploration Command, Rex knew she was telling the truth. Rex was not a man who waited for committees to make decisions. Within a week, he had assembled a crew of volunteers, engineers who had designed impossible machines, pilots who had flown where no human had ever been, and scientists who valued discovery over safety. They called their ship the Defiant Hope, and it was humanity's most advanced vessel, built for journeys that might take years. The Zelani signal had included coordinates, a star system 47 light-years from Earth. Using experimental quantum drive technology, the journey would take 8 months. Rex's crew prepared for the longest voyage in human history, knowing they might be flying toward their deaths. As the Defiant Hope left Earth's gravity well, Rex stood on the bridge watching. His home planet shrink to a blue dot. His crew of 12 represented the best of humanity, diverse, determined, and absolutely refusing to let fear stop them. Among them was Dr. Sarah Kim, a xenobiologist who had spent her career preparing for this moment, and engineer Tom Bradley, whose innovations had made their journey possible. The months in deep space tested every member of the crew. They dealt with equipment failures, food shortages, and the crushing psychological pressure of being farther from home than any human had ever traveled. But they also discovered something remarkable about themselves. When faced with the impossible, humans did not break. They adapted. Dr. Kim used the journey to develop protocols for first contact with alien species. Engineer Bradley created new repair techniques using materials they had never intended to use. Navigator Lisa Park found ways to plot courses through space that defied conventional physics. Each challenge made them stronger, more creative, more human. When they finally reached the Zelani system, what they found broke their hearts. The fourth planet was a wasteland of ash and twisted metal. Cities lay in ruins, and the atmosphere glowed with radiation. Orbital stations hung dead in space, their lights forever extinguished. The Devourers had been here, but then their sensors detected something impossible, a life sign. Deep beneath the planet's surface, someone had survived. Rex ordered an immediate landing, despite the radiation danger. They found the survivor in a shielded bunker that had been carved from solid rock. Kethvar was the last of his kind, or so he believed. The Zelani was tall and graceful, with silver skin that seemed to shimmer in their flashlight beams. His large eyes held depths of sadness that no human language could express. When he saw the humans, he collapsed to his knees, overcome with emotions. "You came," he whispered in broken English, learned from intercepted human broadcasts. "After all this time, someone finally answered our call." Through Kethvar's memories, accessed by Zelani technology that interfaced directly with consciousness, the humans learned the truth about the Devourers. They were not aliens in any sense that humans understood. They were something else, a collective. Intelligence that spread across the galaxy, consuming entire worlds not for resources, but for the life force itself. The Devourers did not negotiate. They did not communicate. They simply arrived, consumed everything living, and moved on. Dozens of civilizations had fallen before them. The galaxy was dying, one world at a time, and no one had found a way to stop them. "They are coming to your system next," Kethvar explained, his voice heavy with despair. "I calculated their path from the patterns of destruction. Earth has perhaps 2 of your years before they arrive." Rex felt ice form in his stomach, but his voice remained steady. "Then we need to get home and warn everyone." "It will not matter," Kethvar said sadly. "We Zelani were advanced far beyond your current technology. We had weapons that could shatter moons, shields that could protect entire planets. The Devourers consumed us in days. What hope does a young species like humanity have?" Dr. Kim stepped forward, her jaw set with determination. "You don't know humans very well, do you? We're stubborn. We don't give up, even when we should." Engineer Bradley nodded agreement. "Plus, we're really good at breaking things that aren't supposed to be broken. Maybe these Devourers haven't met anyone crazy enough to try the impossible." For the first time in cycles, something that might have been hope flickered in Kethvar's alien eyes. These humans spoke with a confidence that defied logic. They were small, weak, and technologically primitive compared to the species the Devourers had already destroyed. But there was something in their voices, something in their eyes, that reminded him of an old Zelani proverb: sometimes the smallest flame can ignite the greatest fire. Rex made a decision that would echo across the galaxy. "Kethvar, you're coming with us. If the Devourers want to destroy humanity, they're going to have to go through us first. And humans ... Well, we've never been very good at making things easy for anyone." As the Defiant Hope prepared to return to Earth, carrying the last Zelani and the most important message in human history, none of them realized they had just lit the fuse on something incredible. Humanity was about to meet its greatest challenge, and the galaxy was about to discover what happened when you threatened a species that had climbed to the top of the food chain on a planet where everything tried to kill everything else. The journey home would be different. They were no longer explorers heading into the unknown. They were messengers carrying a declaration of war, and they had only 2 years to prepare their entire species for a battle that would determine the fate of all life in the galaxy. In the depths of space, something vast and hungry continued its slow approach toward the small blue world that had dared to answer a call for help. The Devourers had consumed thousands of civilizations, each one believing they were special, each one falling to the same inexorable fate. But they had never met humans before, and humans had a very bad habit of refusing to accept that anything was impossible. The galaxy was about to change forever, and it all started with one signal, one ship, and one species too stubborn to let the universe end without a fight. When humans said, "Not today," the return of the defiant hope created chaos across Earth. When Captain Rex Morrison's crew emerged from their ship carrying an alien survivor and proof of an approaching extinction-level threat, the world's governments could no longer ignore the impossible. Emergency sessions convened in every major capital. Military leaders demanded immediate action. Scientists struggled to comprehend technology that seemed like magic. Kethvar stood before the United Nations Assembly, his silver skin gleaming under the harsh lights. Through translation devices created by human engineers working with Zelani technology, he shared memories of worlds reduced to ash, of civilizations that had stood for millions of years wiped out in days. The Devourers have consumed 47 species, he explained, his voice carrying the weight of entire lost civilizations. Each believed they could resist. The Korathi had weapons that could ignite stars. The Minari possessed shields that bent spacetime itself. The Zilana, my people, had evolved beyond physical form. None of it mattered. The Devourers adapted to every defense, overcame every weapon. General Patricia Hassan, Earth's foremost military strategist, leaned forward. What exactly are we dealing with? Ships? Armies? Some kind of virus? Kethvar's large eyes dimmed with remembered horror. They are unlike anything you can imagine. Part machine, part living darkness, part something else entirely. They consume not just matter, but the life force itself. Where they pass, even the quantum foam becomes dead and empty. Dr. Maya Chun, now Earth's leading expert on the Devourer threat, studied the tactical displays. Every species they've encountered has tried to fight them conventionally. Military might, advanced technology, superior numbers. What if we try something different? Such as? Kethvar asked. Maya smiled grimly. What if we fight them like humans? The next 18 months transformed Earth into something unprecedented. Every nation set aside their differences. Every resource was mobilized. Every human mind focused on a single goal, survival. But instead of building bigger weapons or stronger shields, humanity did something that baffled their alien ally. They got creative. Dr. Sarah Kim, back from the Zelani homeworld, established first contact protocols with the survivors of destroyed civilizations. Scattered refugees from dozens of species began arriving at Earth, each carrying fragments of knowledge about the Devourers. What they found was a species that defied everything they thought they knew about intelligent life. Humans, it seemed, were insane. Commander Jacques Thule of the surviving Korathi fleet watched in disbelief as humans tested their latest weapon. Instead of a planet-killing laser or a reality-warping bomb, they had created something they called a quantum joke. When activated, it caused Devourer ships to experience computational errors by presenting them with paradoxes that their collective intelligence could not resolve. This is not a weapon, Jacques Thule protested. This is... I do not have words for what this is. Engineer Tom Bradley grinned. That's the point. If we can't describe it, how can they adapt to it? The human approach to the coming war was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Where other species had tried to match the Devourer's strength, humans focused on being unpredictable. They created weapons that shouldn't work, tactics that defied logic, and strategies that seemed designed by madmen. Captain Rex Morrison now commanded the largest fleet in human history, but it was not the sleek, uniform armada that other species might have expected. Human ships were a wild mixture of designs, each one incorporating alien technology in ways that made their former owners uncomfortable. Some ships looked like art installations. Others resembled mechanical creatures. A few appeared to be held together with hope and stubbornness alone. Every ship is different, Rex explained to the assembled alien commanders. The Devourers adapt by learning patterns. If we have no patterns, they can't predict us. Kethvar studied the tactical displays with growing amazement. In 18 months, humans had accomplished what took his people centuries to achieve. Not in terms of pure technology, but in something far more valuable: unity. Every human nation, every political faction, every religious group had set aside their differences. They faced extinction as one species. But more than that, they had done something no other species had managed. They had united the survivors. Refugees from destroyed worlds now served alongside humans, their despair replaced by something they had thought lost forever: hope. The Devourers arrived exactly when Kethvar had predicted. Their fleet emerged from quantum space at the edge of the solar system, a darkness that seemed to swallow starlight itself. Sensors detected thousands of ships, each one larger than Earth's largest cities. The collective intelligence behind them had consumed galaxies. They had never known defeat. They were about to learn what happened when an unstoppable force met an impossibly stubborn species. The first battle began at Jupiter. The Devourers expected conventional resistance, fleets meeting in formation, weapons targeting weapons, the ordered chaos of military engagement. Instead, they encountered something that broke their ancient algorithms. Human ships attacked in seemingly random patterns. Some played music at frequencies that disrupted Devourer communications. Others released clouds of glitter that confused their sensors. A few ships simply rammed Devourer vessels while broadcasting human comedy shows, creating feedback loops in the collective intelligence that took precious seconds to resolve. "This is not warfare," transmitted the Devourer collective. "This is madness." Rex Morrison's voice crackled across all channels, human and alien alike. "Welcome to humanity. We've been called mad before, usually right before we do something impossible." The battle raged for days. The Devourers adapted to each human tactic, but just as they thought they understood the pattern, humans would do something completely different. Dr. Kim's xenobiology team deployed weapons that targeted the Devourers' collective consciousness with abstract art, causing system-wide seizures. Engineer Bradley's modified ships used gravity wells to play cosmic music that destabilized Devourer formation algorithms. But the masterstroke came from an unexpected source. Dr. Maya Chun, a scientist who had first detected the Zelani signal, proposed something so audacious that even humans thought it was crazy. "What if we don't fight them at all?" she suggested during a strategy meeting as Devourer forces approached Mars. "What if we invite them to join us?" The alien commanders stared at her in shocked silence. Kethvar's skin flickered pale with fear. "You cannot be serious. They consume all life. They cannot be reasoned with." Maya's eyes blazed with the same intensity that had driven her to decode the first alien message. Every species they've encountered has been uniform, predictable. They consume civilizations, but they've never encountered a civilization that includes dozens of different species, each one with completely different thought patterns. What if we offer them something they've never tasted before? "Diversity," Rex breathed, understanding immediately. The plan was implemented during the final battle above Earth. As Devourer ships descended toward the planet, human vessels began broadcasting something unprecedented. Not weapons fire or defensive screens, but an invitation. The combined thoughts, dreams, hopes, and fears of every species in the human alliance, transmitted directly into the Devourer collective consciousness. For the first time in their existence, the Devourers experienced true chaos, not the randomness of quantum fluctuations or the disorder of entropy, but the beautiful, creative chaos of dozens of different species working together, arguing, loving, dreaming, and growing. The effect was immediate and catastrophic. Devourer ships began experiencing cascade failures as their collective intelligence struggled to process the sheer complexity of unified diversity. Individual devourer units began exhibiting something they had never known: independent thought. What is happening to us? Transmitted scattered devourer voices, no longer speaking in unison. Dr. Kim's response was gentle but firm. You're learning to be individuals. Welcome to the club. It's scary, but it's also wonderful. The war ended not with destruction, but with transformation. The devourer collective consciousness fragmented into millions of independent beings, each one experiencing individuality for the first time. Some chose to explore the galaxy as benevolent wanderers. Others joined the growing interspecies alliance that humanity had somehow created from the ashes of a dying galaxy. Kefvar stood in the observation deck of the rebuilt Zelani homeworld, watching human children play with young devourers who had chosen to remain near Earth. The scene would have been impossible to imagine just years before. Your species is remarkable, he said to Captain Morrison, who had become something like an galactic ambassador. You faced extinction and turned it into unity. You met the greatest threat the galaxy has ever known and transformed it into hope. Rex smiled, watching a human child teach a young devourer how to build sandcastles. We're not special, Kefvar. We're just too stubborn to give up and too curious to stop asking what if. Besides, the galaxy was getting pretty boring with just one way of thinking about things. In the years that followed, historians would debate exactly how humanity had accomplished the impossible. Some credited their military tactics. Others pointed to their technological innovations. Most scholars agreed that the key was humanity's unique ability to unite different species while celebrating their differences. But the truth was simpler and more profound. When faced with extinction, humanity had not tried to become something they were not. They had simply become more human, more creative, more cooperative, more stubbornly determined to find a solution that everyone said was impossible. The galaxy had been dying, consumed by an ancient darkness that had devoured countless civilizations. It took one species, answering one distress call, to change everything. Not through superior weapons or advanced technology, but by doing what humans had always done best, bringing others together and refusing to accept that anything was truly impossible. And in the end, that made all the difference.